What have you done the last years?
Um, Wonderful to be back on the program with you.
Yeah.
And I've been busy, most thankfully, especially given the age of COVID.
Mhm.
And so I just did a movie called Love Guaranteed for Netflix, a romantic comedy from Mark Steven Johnson. And it stars Rachel Lee Cook, uh, Damon Wayans Jr., and Heather Graham. And it's a really heartfelt, enjoyable romantic comedy. And I'm really proud of the score. And the movie has done really well. It came out on Netflix Labor Day weekend, and it was the number one most played movie on Netflix worldwide
Wow.
for the entire first week. So we were thrilled about that. And I just did another TV series called The Not Too Late Show with Elmo, which is Elmo, and there's a lot of really wonderful guests on the show, like musicians and actors, um, Josh Groban, Sarah Bareilles, Lil Nas, um, and Pentatonics, and a whole lot of other great guests.
Mhm.
Which is a dream come true for me because I grew up watching The Muppets.
Mhm.
And in particular, I grew up watching The Muppet Show, which was so much fun, with all of the guests, and you'd see the antics behind stage and on stage. And this, when I first saw this TV series, it's exactly what it reminded me of, was the Muppet Show,
Wow.
because they do the exact same thing, where there are antics behind stage and on stage. So I was working on that, and then also another animated TV series called Star Wars: Galaxy of Adventures, and that's my third animated TV series for Lucasfilm for Star Wars.
Wow.
Um, and I'm so proud of the series. I think they just released the um, most recent episode not long ago, maybe a month ago. Um, and uh, and it's an absolute dream come true to work for Lucasfilm,
Mhm.
and to continue working for them. So I'm busy on those, and also another animated series for Netflix called Go Go Corey Carson,
Mm.
which is a really wonderful animated series. I'm writing all the score and songs for it, and it's from friends of mine many friends who used to be at Pixar, and then they left Pixar to form their own company. And this is the first TV show from this company. And there's so much amazing talent on the show. Every story is about growing up.
Wow.
And so they're wonderful storylines, like things that little ones would think
Mm.
about, like, the challenges they have, like their feelings about staying up late, or having a babysitter, or meeting the trash man who comes to the house and picks up the trash every day, and all the feelings that go along with it. It's a really, really heartfelt and wonderful series. So I'm busy on that as well. So knock on wood, I've been busy,
Oh.
through this time. And there are other projects to come. Um, and one other one I wanted to mention, which I'm extremely excited about, is a new movie musical
Mm.
called In the Heights.
Mm.
And In the Heights is from Lin-Manuel Miranda, who did Hamilton.
Ah.
And so In the Heights was the musical on Broadway that he did before Hamilton. And I saw it on Broadway. It was fantastic. And now they've made it into a movie.
Wow.
And I was so fortunate to be brought on board to be part of the music team. I wrote some score, and I did some orchestrations and additional arranging on some of the songs. And and I conducted the orchestra
Oh.
for the recording sessions. We were recording it in New York right around the time that all this COVID thing was starting up. And that movie, I've read online, I think is going to be coming out the summer of 2021.
Mhm.
And obviously, I've seen the movie because I worked on it, and it's fantastic. It sounds fantastic. It looks amazing, and I really can't wait for audiences to finally see it.
Mhm. So when you like Hamilton and musicals, I have to watch it.
You don't have to watch it,
Hmm?
but I hope you do, because it's from the same brilliant people who created Hamilton,
Hmm?
and the songs are wonderful, um, and I think it's going to be a really great summer movie when it comes out, because it's got a really wonderful summer vibe to the movie.
I have heard a lot of Hamilton, and yeah, so it's very yeah, above my on my list. So yeah, the next weekend I think I'll watch it finally. So I think
Yeah,
it's on Disney Plus. So
yeah, I saw it on Disney Plus. After I saw it on Broadway, I saw it on Disney Plus. I thought that was fantastic the way it was shown.
hmm?
I know that in musical theater, it's almost, like taboo, to film a performance,
Hmm?
because theater is live,
Hmm?
and it's supposed to be live. Um, but I thought they did a fantastic job of putting it together and showing different camera angles, and presenting the show, and I loved it all the same. When I got to see it again, and in some ways, I actually enjoyed it more than when I saw it on Broadway, because I was able to sort of listen to the lyrics, a little more, because when I first saw it on Broadway, I was just so enamored with everything. And I obviously listened particularly closely to the music
Hmm?
the first time. And so sometimes I wasn't catching all of the lyrics
Hmm?
when I saw it the first time, but I was able to catch more of it when I watched it on Disney Plus.
Hmm. Yeah, I like it when they film musicals because yeah, it's the Broadway is a little bit too far away from me. So yeah, I'm
Mhm.
very happy when there are yeah recordings.
Yeah. Do shows come to Germany? Do
Uh,
some of the tours come?
I really don't know. We have a few musicals here, but yeah, very fixed to the cities. So we have Hamburg, the Lion King, also far away. In Bochum, there's the Starlight Express. Any there is, yeah, the Cats. I don't know if it's still runs. So no, but
Yeah.
a tour would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad that those shows are there.
Mm, me too. But yeah, I hope one day I could see one in Hamburg. So perhaps the Phantom of the Opera or something.
I hope so.
Mm.
Phantom is great. I've seen Phantom like 4 times, I think.
I see a new interpretation from that of that in Vienna, so that was great too.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I don't know who it was. So yeah, it was new with a few of the old themes, but new arrangements. Yeah, it's hard to describe, but yeah, very
Cool.
interesting.
Wow.
What can you tell about these Star Wars series? So how did you come to that?
Yeah, so I was originally introduced to Lucasfilm through an animation company that I had worked with before.
Mm-hmm.
And they recommended me. Um, they're called Ghostbot. And the first series that I did for Lucasfilm for Star Wars was called Star Wars Forces of Destiny. And it's kind of funny, like how it came about, because my friends at Ghostbot, who we'd worked together before on another project or a couple of projects, they called me up and they said they're doing a new series, and it's for Lucasfilm,
Mm-hmm.
and but they can't tell me anything about it. It's all under wraps.
Mm-hmm.
But would I like to be recommended? And
Oh.
I said, yes, of course. That's amazing. It's Lucasfilm.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, okay, we'll recommend you, and you'll be contacted by one of the producers to talk about the show, and go from there. So I spoke with one of the producers, and I was asking information so that I knew what kind of a reel to send them. They wanted to hear things I had done before. And so I remember asking the producer, um, like I knew that they couldn't tell me what it was. That was all, on the down
Mm-hmm.
low. But I remember asking the producer one question, and I remember kind of kicking myself as I asked it, but I really wanted to know the answer so that I knew what to send, on my reel.
Mm-hmm.
And so here's the question I asked. I said, I don't want to know anything that I'm not supposed to know. However, can you let me know if these stories take place on Earth?
Hmm.
And she said they don't. And I said, Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I needed to know. Like, I didn't ask if it was Star Wars. I didn't ask anything. I just knew that if the stories don't take place on Earth, now we are in a realm that could easily be science fiction. It could be fantasy. It could be Star Wars. It could be anything that doesn't take place, on this planet. And so, obviously, knowing that Lucasfilm makes Star Wars, I thought there's a possibility this could be
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars. And so when I put together my reel, I put together music that I thought would speak to that. And then they asked me to do the series
Oh.
after that. And I was blown away, so excited. I remember when I got that phone call, like, okay, here's what it is, and we'd like to hire you. And I hung up the call and I'm like jumping up and down in my studio. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I can't believe it. Like, it's Star Wars. And it was so exciting. So then when I was given my first episodes to score, I'm thinking to myself, I better make this good,
Mm-hmm.
because you only get one shot at this. And so I remember I scored a first batch of episodes and I sent it to them. And they didn't have any comments. They said, okay, this is great. We don't have any comments on this. And I remember thinking to myself, if they don't have any comments, then there's one of two things that are happening. Either they really love it and they're happy and everything is great
Mm-hmm.
because that's what they said, or I'm about to be fired
Mm.
because, like, it's just so wrong and they're not happy and they don't even want to bother making comments.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm thinking, ooh, I hope I didn't, just get fired. Turned out it was definitely the first one. They were super happy with everything that I did. And when we went to then score more episodes, they were very, very trusting. They felt that I really understood what needed to be done. When we started doing more spotting sessions, we actually spent more time sometimes in those spotting sessions just having pleasantries and catching up and talking about generalities.
Wow.
Less about specifics within the show because they really felt comfortable of what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So they have been wonderful to work with. That's how I first got involved with Star Wars. And I think I did, I forgot, 30 episodes or 50 episodes of that show. And then came Galaxy of Adventures and also Galaxy of Adventures Fun Facts.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like between all of them combined, it's probably like over 125 episodes
Wow.
of Star Wars that I've done now. So I'm very, very lucky
Mm-hmm.
to be part of such an incredible legacy and to work with all those people.
Yeah. And yeah, what is your approach for the series? So did you earn on John Williams, or do you have or try to have your own style?
Each series is a little different.
Mm-hmm.
So the first series that I did, Forces of Destiny, they really wanted a traditional sound, like very much like John Williams. And so I did compose original music and I used John Williams themes. And so that one was very much like a very traditional classic Star Wars sound. Then when Galaxy of Adventures Fun Facts came around, they actually wanted a very different sound altogether. They didn't even want it to be orchestral.
Oh.
And they didn't want it to utilize John Williams themes. And so when I got that direction, I thought, wow, I've only really heard Star Wars done John Williams way. And so I I was really excited that they wanted something totally different.
Mm-hmm.
And so on Galaxy of Adventures Fun Facts, I did everything very electronically, but not just to sound like an orchestra with samples done electronically, but I utilized a lot of synths and new sounds and a lot of different production techniques that are more contemporary, so very different than doing standard orchestral.
Mm-hmm.
So that one was very different. And then Galaxy of Adventures proper, I guess we would say, because there were two Galaxy Adventures, was a little bit of a different approach from the other two. So Galaxy Adventures, I was utilizing actual recordings that John Williams had created, And sometimes I would use his actual recordings, and sometimes I would compose my own music in between his recordings and hopefully make everything sound seamless. So at any given time when you're watching the series, it might be like, here's 21 seconds of the actual recording from Star Wars with the orchestra, and then it goes into 20 seconds of me, with a brand new recording,
Oh.
a brand new music, and then dovetail back into the original recording from, from one of the earlier movies. And so that was one of the challenges for me, was how do I make this all sound cohesive so that you can go in and out of these recordings and hopefully not be able to tell the difference.
Great. And are there, musical, or say music released somewhere?
I hope it will be eventually, but I don't think any of the music has been released on its own. However, all of those episodes that we've mentioned have been released, and I believe that they are on the new Disney Plus app on streaming devices. And I'm pretty sure most, if not all, of those episodes I mentioned may also be on Star Wars YouTube channel.
Oh.
And so they're all readily available. So if you go onto YouTube and type in Star Wars Galaxy of Adventures, I think the entire series will come up. And also if you go into YouTube and type in Star Wars Forces of Destiny, I'm pretty sure that entire series will come up as well.
Yeah, I'll probably look into it on Disney Plus. So, but first I have to watch The Mandalorian. So, I heard the music and thought, "Whoa, what's that? That's Star Wars?" And so it makes me very curious about it. So, I'm not a great, or huge Star Wars fan, but but it makes me curious a bit.
Wonderful.
How much time do you get per episode?
It varies. We usually score them, or we spot them in batches. So, we might spot like 6 episodes at a time, and they'll give them to me, and then I'll usually have a handful of weeks to do them, and then I'll preview it, and maybe there might be another, few weeks to sort of polish and hone things in. But it's pretty quick, but it's continuous because there's so many episodes. So, I'll be working on it for, a year, but each episode may only be in music process for maybe a month.
Wow, what are your work steps? So from the when you get the episode, so from the first ID until it's finished.
So we usually begin with a spotting session, and in the spotting session, I meet with the creators of each episode, the producers and the executives, and director, and we look at the episode, and often they will have temporary music in there, which maybe they've edited too. So that's part of the discussion, how they're feeling about the temp. And then after we spot, I'm usually very clear as to what they're looking for. And so then I go back to my studio and I compose that music. I mock everything up with samples, and then I bounce quick times and then send them to Lucasfilm so they can hear them. And then we will talk about it. And if they would like any changes, sometimes they'll email them to me, or sometimes we'll talk about them on the phone. And then I'll make those updates. And then if there are any other requests they have, then I'll address them until all updates have been addressed. And it's usually only back and forth a handful of times. We can go back and forth as many times as they would like, but they're very clear. It's very clear what to do. I find it's clear within each episode, because the storytelling is so strong. So that's usually what the process is like.
Great. And are there different working conditions so in these times, or?
In a lot of ways, it's very much the same, ironically. And that's because composing is such a solitary profession in a way. So, I'm used to working in my studio, obviously, and I do have an assistant and oftentimes an intern, But that's the part that's changed. Is usually the extra staff that I have to support me is usually in-house. Now with with the pandemic, everyone is working from their own place. Fortunately, knock on wood, we're very organized, um, and so my assistant is well aware as to where every file is and how we work and what our workflow is. So that transition of working from home was not really that rough. We could just sort of continue. Um, we just don't see each other as much. Like we'll do FaceTimes and Zooms and Skypes. But when everyone was working in my office, then it's much easier. We can go out to lunch. We can look over each other's shoulders. You check something out on someone's computer. They want to play something for you. So there's sort of an immediacy that we usually have that we don't right now. But I still feel very connected to everybody. And we're just as efficient. And so in some ways, things haven't really changed very much. We've been able to keep up with the changes.
Great. So your Star Wars is the current project, and do you have some other new upcoming projects you could talk about?
There are other things, but nothing that I can mention at the moment, just because they haven't been announced yet. But there are some projects. I'm very excited about them. But the ones that I can mention are the 3 TV series and the 2 movies that we just chatted about.
Great. Yeah, I'm looking forward.
Yeah. So there's one more project, which it is a really wonderful organization that reached out to me called the World Woman Foundation. And they have created an amazing initiative called the World Woman Hour, which is a 1-hour video. And it's designed to inspire young women and girls and women to be inspired by other women who are very accomplished in their fields, to inspire them to achieve their dreams and to give them encouragement. And it's a wonderful initiative. The video is 60 1-minute interviews with 60 different women. And Jane Goodall, who works with primates, is one of them. And there's a lot of really wonderful interviewees. And they reached out to me because they wanted to have an original song written, like an anthemic song. And so I reached out to my fiance, Elizabeth Russo, who is a lyricist, a wonderful lyricist. And we wrote the song together. The song is called Looking Up. And it's all about this theme, and the premise of the song is that women are looking up to other women, but it's a ladder. It's like a cycle, like the women that they're looking up to someone else above them. And so in the same thing, when someone is younger and they find their inspiration and then they grow and they achieve their goals, then they become an inspiration for someone, younger than them. So that's really what the song is all about. And it just premiered a week ago as part of the UN, United Nations 75th anniversary.
Wow.
And this song is sung by Angelica Hale. Angelica is 13 years old, and she was on America's Got Talent. And she sings phenomenally well. And she's beyond her years. She herself is an inspiration to other women because she has dealt with challenges in her life, even in her short 13 years. So Elizabeth and I are just so honored to be a part of it. It's a beautiful presentation, and we're thrilled with how the song came out. And so that's another current thing. And I think there's going to be pretty soon we're going to release the song on its own. So please keep an eye out for that. It's called Looking Up, and we're really proud of it.
Yeah, I'll look for it, and I'm looking forward. So yeah, it sounds very interesting.
Thank you.
And yeah, the movie, where could I watch it?
Yes, it's available. I believe that there is, if you go on Facebook, you can go to the World Woman Foundation. And I'm pretty sure that they have a video of the entire stream. It was streamed live, and then they saved the video. So I think the video is still available on their website on Facebook. And then hopefully very soon we're going to release the song, just the song on its own, with its own music video, and hopefully we're going to be releasing that pretty soon. So if someone wants to hear the song on its own, then that'll be available on its own.
Great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward, and look for that movie.
Yay.
And so, yeah, that was it for my questions. So, yeah.
Great question.
Thank you. And thank you for the interview and your time.
Of course. Yeah, thank you. I'm so glad that you asked me to do it. It's always a pleasure to talk with you.